In the vastness of space, far beyond the reaches of Earth's solar system, a fleet of human ships approached the heart of the Galactic Council. This council was a gathering of powerful alien civilizations, each more advanced than the last. Humanity, still new to interstellar travel, had sent its best representatives to make contact and seek friendship. Leading the delegation was Commander Ryan Carter, a calm yet determined man with years of experience in space exploration. By his side was Ambassador Laura Bennett, a sharp-minded woman skilled in diplomacy. The human fleet consisted of 5 ships, each built with the latest technology Earth could offer. To the humans, these vessels were marvels of engineering. They were large, sturdy, and painted with the colors of Earth's flag. But when they arrived at the Council's massive space station, their pride quickly turned into unease. The station was a breathtaking structure, shimmering with lights and floating gracefully in the void. Surrounding it were dozens of alien ships, sleek and elegant compared to the bulky human vessels. As the humans docked and entered the council chamber, they felt out of place. The room was filled with strange beings, some tall and slender, others short and wide, all with features that seemed impossible to human eyes. Some aliens had glowing skin, while others had multiple limbs or heads. In the center of the room stood a massive holographic table where the council conducted its meetings. The humans took their seats, feeling small and insignificant. Laura began the discussion by introducing humanity and explaining their peaceful intentions. She spoke clearly, trying her best to sound confident despite the stares from the council members. "We come in peace," she said. "We wish to learn from you and share our own knowledge." But instead of welcoming words, the council burst into laughter. One alien ambassador, a tall creature with shimmering blue scales, leaned forward and sneered. "Your ships look like toys," he said, his voice dripping with mockery. "How can such primitive beings hope to join us?" Ryan clenched his fists under the table, but kept his face calm. He knew losing his temper would only make things worse. Laura tried to defend their work, explaining how much effort and innovation went into building the ships. But the council wasn't listening. Another ambassador, a round being with 6 glowing eyes, chimed in. "You call this technology? It's outdated before it even leaves your planet." The laughter grew louder, echoing through the chamber. Ryan glanced at Laura, who looked hurt but determined. She whispered to him, "We'll prove them wrong someday." Ryan nodded slightly, though deep down, he wondered if they truly belonged among these advanced species. Despite the ridicule, the humans stayed focused. They presented their plans for future missions and asked for advice on improving their technology. But the council dismissed their requests, refusing to take them seriously. When the meeting ended, the humans returned to their ships, carrying not just disappointment, but also a burning desire to prove themselves. Back aboard the flagship, Ryan gathered the crew. "They laughed at us," he said, his voice steady. "But we're not here to entertain them. We're here to show what humanity is capable of. Let's get back to Earth and prepare for the next step." Though the encounter left a bitter taste, it also lit a fire within the hearts of everyone on board. Humanity may have been laughed at today, but they weren't about to give up. Not when there was so much left to explore, and so much to prove. After the humiliating meeting with the Galactic Council, the human fleet began its long journey back to Earth. The mood aboard the ships was heavy with disappointment and frustration. Commander Ryan Carter spent most of his time in the control room of the flagship, staring out at the endless expanse of space. Ambassador Laura Bennett tried to lift the spirits of the crew, reminding them that humanity had faced challenges before and always found a way to overcome them. But even she couldn't shake the sting of the council's laughter. The fleet traveled for days, moving steadily toward the edge of the galaxy where they could activate their warp drives to return home. Everything seemed normal, until it wasn't. As the ships approached the designated coordinates for the jump, something strange happened. One by one, the smaller vessels began to vanish without warning. There were no explosions, no distress signals, just an eerie silence as each ship disappeared from view. Ryan rushed to the main screen, his heart pounding. "What's going on?" he demanded, his voice sharp with urgency. The crew scrambled to check the sensors, but the readings made no sense. It was as if the missing ships had simply ceased to exist. Panic spread quickly among the remaining crew members. Laura joined Ryan in the control room, her face pale with worry. "Could it be a malfunction?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. Their ships were carefully designed and tested. A malfunction like this was almost impossible. Before anyone could respond, another ship vanished. This time, it was close enough to the flagship that the crew saw it happen. A sudden flicker, like a light being switched off, and then nothing. The flagship, named *Odyssey*, was now one of only 2 ships left. Fear gripped everyone aboard. Ryan tried to stay calm, knowing that panic would only make things worse. "We need to figure this out," he said firmly. Now, desperate for answers, Laura contacted the Galactic Council, hoping they might have some insight into what was happening. But when the Council responded, their tone was dismissive. "Humans are prone to mistakes," one ambassador said coldly. "Perhaps your primitive technology failed you." Another added, "Don't waste our time with your incompetence." Their words stung, but Ryan refused to let them distract him. He ordered the crew to focus on finding a solution. They scanned the area around them, searching for any clues. At first, there was nothing unusual. But then, one of the technicians noticed something strange, a faint ripple in space, almost like heat waves rising off pavement. It was barely visible, even on the most advanced sensors, but it was there. Ryan studied the data carefully. "It's some kind of anomaly," he said. "Whatever it is, it's pulling our ships into it." Laura frowned. "An anomaly? Like a black hole?" Ryan shook his head. "Not exactly. It's different. I've never seen anything like it." As they debated their next move, the second-to-last ship vanished, leaving only the *Odyssey* behind. The crew held their breath, waiting for the same fate to befall them. But instead of vanishing, the *Odyssey* remained intact. Ryan made a decision. "We can't just sit here," he said. "If we want answers, we'll have to investigate that anomaly ourselves." Laura hesitated. "Are you sure? What if it destroys us too?" Ryan met her gaze, his expression resolute. "If we don't try, we'll never know what happened to the others, and we owe it to them to find out." With no other options, the crew prepared to approach the anomaly. As the *Odyssey* moved closer, the ripple grew more pronounced, shimmering like a curtain of light. Ryan gave the order to proceed cautiously, unsure of what lay beyond. The tension aboard the ship was palpable as they entered the unknown, hoping to uncover the truth, but dreading what they might find. The *Odyssey* drifted closer to the shimmering anomaly, its crew holding their breath. The ripple in space glowed faintly like sunlight reflecting off water. It was both beautiful and terrifying. Commander Ryan Carter gripped the control panel tightly as he guided the ship forward. "Steady," he said, his voice calm but firm. Everyone aboard knew they were taking a huge risk, but there was no other choice. As the ship crossed the threshold of the anomaly, a strange sensation washed over the crew. It felt like being pulled through a tunnel at incredible speed, yet everything around them seemed eerily still. Colors swirled outside the windows, blues, greens, and purples blending together in a hypnotic dance. For a moment, it felt as though time itself had stopped. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the sensation ended. The *Odyssey* emerged into a place unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Floating islands made of rock and metal drifted lazily in the air, glowing softly with an inner light. Rivers of liquid energy flowed between them, cascading like waterfalls into empty space. The sky, or what passed for a sky, was a swirling mix of stars and shifting colors, as if the universe itself couldn't decide what shape to take here. "What is this?" Laura Bennett whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. She stood beside Ryan in the control room, staring out at the bizarre landscape. No one answered because no one knew. The crew quickly ran scans of the area, hoping to find some explanation. To their amazement, the sensors picked up faint signals coming from nearby. "Those readings match our missing ships," exclaimed one technician, excitement breaking through his fear. Ryan nodded. "Let's check it out." The Odyssey moved toward the source of the signals. As they approached, they saw them, the missing ships, drifting silently in the strange dimension. They looked intact, though dark and lifeless, as if frozen in time. Relief washed over the crew. Their friends and fellow explorers weren't lost forever after all. But before anyone could celebrate, something unexpected happened. A low hum filled the air, growing louder by the second. Then a voice spoke, not from the speakers, but directly in their minds. "Intruders detected," it said, deep and resonant. The crew froze, unsure of what to do. Ryan stepped forward, his voice steady despite the unease creeping up his spine. "We mean no harm," he said aloud. "We're looking for our ships and our people." There was a pause, and then the voice replied, "I am Solus, guardian of this realm." Moments later, a figure appeared on the main screen. A glowing humanoid shape made entirely of light. Its presence was both comforting and intimidating. Laura took a step forward. "Why are our ships here? What is this place?" Solus explained that this dimension was created by an ancient civilization called the Valens, who had long since vanished. The Valens built this realm as a sanctuary to protect their knowledge and technology. When the human ships entered the anomaly, Solus interpreted them as potential threats and quarantined them automatically. Ryan frowned. "So you trapped them here without even knowing why they came?" "I acted according to my programming," Solus replied simply. "However, I have analyzed your intentions and deemed you non-hostile. If you wish to leave this realm, you must complete a task." The crew exchanged nervous glances. "What kind of task?" Laura asked cautiously. Solus's form flickered slightly. "Scattered throughout this dimension are fragments of the Valen consciousness. Retrieve them, and I will grant you safe passage home." Ryan hesitated, weighing the risks. This place was dangerous, and they had no idea what challenges awaited them. But staying wasn't an option either. He turned to Laura. "Do we have a choice?" She shook her head. "No, we'll do it." With determination in their hearts, the crew prepared to face whatever lay ahead. They didn't know what the fragments held or what secrets they might uncover. But one thing was certain: humanity's survival depended on completing this mission and proving once again that they were capable of overcoming even the greatest odds. With Solus's guidance, the crew of the Odyssey began their mission to retrieve the fragments of the Valen consciousness. The AI provided them with coordinates for each fragment, scattered across the strange dimension. Commander Ryan Carter divided the team into small groups, ensuring that someone stayed behind on the ship to monitor their progress and keep communication open. Ambassador Laura Bennett insisted on joining one of the teams, determined to help however she could. The first fragment was located on a floating island not far from where they had entered the realm. The island was covered in glowing plants that pulsed softly, as if alive. Strange symbols were etched into the rocky surface, glowing faintly in patterns that shifted like waves. As the team stepped onto the island, they felt a strange energy in the air, tingling against their skin. Ryan led the way, his hand resting on the weapon at his side. He didn't know what dangers might await them here, but he wasn't taking any chances. Laura followed closely, her eyes scanning the area. "This place feels wrong," she said quietly, "like it's watching us." "It probably is," Ryan replied, his voice tense. "Stay alert." They soon found the fragment embedded in a pillar of crystal at the center of the island. It looked like a shard of light, flickering gently as if breathing. When Ryan reached out to touch it, the ground beneath them trembled, and shadowy figures emerged from the glowing plants. They were humanoid but distorted, their forms shifting and twisting unnaturally. "Get back!" Ryan shouted, drawing his weapon. The team opened fire, but the figures seemed unaffected by the blasts. Instead, they moved closer, their hollow eyes fixed on the humans. Laura noticed something. The symbols on the rocks were lighting up in response to the creature's movements. She quickly realized the symbols were a kind of control mechanism. "Ryan, shoot the symbols!" she yelled. Without hesitation, Ryan aimed his weapon at the glowing markings and fired. The moment the symbols shattered, the shadowy figures dissolved into nothingness. Breathing heavily, the team retrieved the fragment and returned to the ship. Back aboard the Odyssey Solis analyzed the fragment, revealing glimpses of the Valen's history. They had been a highly advanced civilization, capable of creating technology far beyond anything humanity had ever seen. But they had also faced enemies, rival species who sought to destroy them. In the end, the Valens disappeared, leaving behind only this hidden realm and fragments of their knowledge. The second fragment was located on a larger island surrounded by rivers of liquid energy. This time, the challenge was different. The river acted as a barrier, its currents deadly to anyone who touched it. Laura studied the flow of the energy, noticing that it pulsed in rhythm with the glowing symbols nearby. Working together, the team used tools from the ship to redirect the flow, creating a safe path across. As they collected more fragments, the crew uncovered disturbing truths. Solis revealed that the Galactic Council had known about the Valens and their secrets all along. The Council had suppressed this knowledge, fearing that other civilizations might rise to challenge their power. Humanity's arrival had threatened their dominance, which was why they had mocked and dismissed the humans so harshly. Laura clenched her fists in anger. "That's why they laughed at us," she said bitterly. "Not because we're weak, but because they're afraid of what we might become." Ryan nodded grimly. "Then let's make sure we give them something to really be afraid of." Each fragment brought new challenges, traps, puzzles, and even more hostile creatures. But the crew grew stronger with every success. They worked together, relying on their skills and determination to overcome the obstacles. Slowly but surely they pieced together the Valen story, learning how the ancient civilization had thrived and fallen. By the time they reached the final fragment, the crew was exhausted but hopeful. They knew the task ahead would be the hardest yet, but they also knew they couldn't turn back now. Humanity's future depended on completing the mission and proving that they were worthy of the Valen's legacy. The final fragment was hidden deep within the heart of the strange dimension, on an island that seemed to pulse with raw energy. The crew of the Odyssey approached it cautiously, their nerves stretched thin after all they had endured. Commander Ryan Carter led the team, his jaw set in determination. Ambassador Laura Bennett walked beside him, clutching a tablet filled with notes from the previous missions. They knew this would be the most dangerous challenge yet. As they landed on the island, the air felt heavier, charged with an almost unbearable intensity. The ground shimmered faintly, as if alive, and the glowing symbols here were more intricate than any they had seen before. At the center of the island stood a massive structure, a towering spire made of crystal that radiated light in rhythmic bursts. The final fragment was embedded at its peak, but getting to it wouldn't be easy. Before they could even take a step forward, the ground began to tremble. From the edges of the island, shadowy figures emerged, larger and more menacing than the ones they had faced earlier. These creatures moved with purpose, their forms shifting between solid and liquid states. Their hollow eyes glowed with an unnatural light, and their presence sent chills down everyone's spines. Ryan raised his weapon, ready to fight. "Stay close," he shouted. But these creatures weren't like the others. They didn't charge blindly. Instead, they circled the group, cutting off escape routes. It was clear they were being herded toward the spire. Laura noticed something peculiar. The symbols on the ground were lighting up in response to the creature's movements, just like before. But this time, they formed a pattern that seemed deliberate. She studied the sequence carefully, her mind racing. "Ryan, I think the symbols are controlling them, she said urgently. If we disrupt the pattern, maybe we can stop them. Without hesitation, Ryan aimed his weapon at the glowing markings and fired. One by one, the symbols shattered, causing the creatures to falter. But for every symbol destroyed, new ones appeared elsewhere, forcing the crew to move quickly. It was a relentless game of cat and mouse, with the creatures closing in from all sides. Finally, after what felt like hours, the last symbol was destroyed. The creatures let out ear-splitting screeches before dissolving into nothingness. The crew collapsed to their knees, exhausted but victorious. Now, only the spire remained. Reaching the fragment wasn't easy. The spire was surrounded by a field of energy that crackled dangerously. Touching it would mean instant death. Laura examined the base of the structure, spotting a series of panels etched with Valen writing. "It's a puzzle," she said. "We need to align the panels correctly to deactivate the field." Working together, the crew deciphered the symbols using the knowledge they had gained from the previous fragments. Each panel represented a piece of the Valen's history, their rise, their struggles, and ultimately, their fall. As Laura adjusted the panels, the field around the spire began to weaken. When the last panel clicked into place, the field vanished, and the final fragment floated free. Ryan reached out and grabbed it, feeling the surge of warmth as it connected with the others they had collected. For a moment, images flooded his mind, visions of the Valen's greatest achievements and their tragic end. He saw how the Galactic Council had twisted their legacy, using fear and control to maintain power over weaker civilizations. Back aboard the Odyssey Solus greeted them with approval. "You have completed the task," the AI said. "As promised, I will return you to your realm." But before sending them back, Solus offered them access to the Valen archives, a treasure trove of advanced technology and knowledge. Laura looked at Ryan, her expression fierce. "This is our chance," she said. "With this, we can change everything." Ryan nodded, his resolve stronger than ever. Humanity had been ridiculed, tested, and pushed to its limits. But now, they stood on the brink of something extraordinary. Armed with the Valen secrets, they were ready to show the galaxy that humanity wasn't just another primitive species. They were a force to be reckoned with. The Odyssey reappeared in normal space, emerging from the anomaly with a flash of light. The crew blinked as their surroundings shifted back to the familiar darkness of the galaxy, dotted with stars and distant planets. For a moment, there was silence. Then cheers erupted throughout the ship. They had made it back, and they weren't alone. The missing ships, now fully restored by Solus, followed closely behind them. Every human vessel was intact, their crews awakened from stasis, confused but unharmed. Commander Ryan Carter stood on the bridge, staring at the fleet gathered around the flagship. He felt a surge of pride, not just for himself, but for everyone who had worked together to complete the mission. Ambassador Laura Bennett joined him, her face glowing with determination. "We did it," she said softly. "But this is only the beginning." As news of their return spread, the Galactic Council demanded an explanation. A holographic transmission connected the humans to the council chamber once again. This time, however, Ryan's tone carried none of the uncertainty he'd shown before. His voice was steady, commanding respect. "You laughed at us when we first arrived," he began, addressing the assembly of alien diplomats. "Now listen carefully. Humanity has uncovered secrets you tried to bury, and we're no longer afraid to stand up to you." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. One ambassador, a tall creature with shimmering blue scales, leaned forward. "What nonsense is this?" he sneered. "Your primitive species has nothing that could threaten us." Ryan allowed himself a small smile. On cue, the human ships activated systems powered by Valen technology. Shields shimmered into existence around each vessel, far stronger than anything the Council had ever seen. Weapons charged silently, glowing with energy capable of tearing through even the most advanced alien armaments. The Council's expressions shifted from mockery to shock, and then to fear. Laura stepped forward, her voice clear and unwavering. For years, you've oppressed weaker civilizations, using your power to maintain control. You kept humanity small because you were afraid of what we might become. But those days are over. She paused, letting her words sink in. If you try to stop us or harm any other species under your thumb, you'll regret it. The Council erupted into chaos, ambassadors shouting over one another. Some called the humans reckless, while others accused them of starting a galactic war. But beneath the noise, Ryan could see the truth. They were scared, and they should be. Back aboard the Odyssey, the crew celebrated their victory, though Ryan reminded them that their work wasn't done. This isn't about revenge, he told his team. It's about protecting those who can't protect themselves, and proving that humanity stands for something better than fear and domination. Using the knowledge from the Valen archives, Earth quickly transformed its defenses and expanded its reach across the stars. Word spread among oppressed civilizations, many of whom reached out to form alliances with humanity. Together, they began dismantling the Council's oppressive systems, freeing worlds long held under its control. The Council tried to retaliate, sending fleets to confront the humans, but the new technology gave Earth an overwhelming advantage. In every battle, the human ships emerged victorious, their presence striking terror into their former tormentors. Slowly, the balance of power in the galaxy shifted. Laura took charge of diplomatic efforts, forging partnerships based on trust and mutual respect rather than fear. Under her leadership, humanity became a beacon of hope for countless species. Meanwhile, Ryan oversaw the integration of Valen advancements, ensuring Earth remained ready to defend itself if needed. Though tensions lingered, humanity's rise marked a turning point in galactic history. No longer dismissed as insignificant, humans earned grudging respect, even admiration, from those who once mocked them. Somewhere in the depths of space, Solus watched silently, satisfied that his creator's legacy had found worthy stewards. And so, humanity stepped boldly into a new era, one defined not by ridicule, but by resilience, courage, and the promise of a brighter future for all. Back on Earth, humanity celebrated its unexpected triumph. The streets were filled with cheering crowds, waving flags and banners under the night sky. Fireworks lit up the horizon, their colors reflecting off the faces of people young and old. For the first time in history, humanity felt united, not just as a planet, but as a force to be reckoned with in the galaxy. Commander Ryan Carter stood on a platform overlooking the celebrations, his heart swelling with pride. Beside him, Ambassador Laura Bennett addressed the crowd, her voice ringing out strong and clear. "We've shown the galaxy that we are not weak," she said, raising her hands to quiet the cheers. "We've proven that even when others laugh at us, we can rise above it. But this is not the end. It's only the beginning." Her words echoed across the world, inspiring millions. Humanity had faced ridicule, danger, and fear, but they had emerged stronger than ever. With the Valen technology now integrated into Earth's systems, humanity was ready to take its place among the stars. Ships capable of faster-than-light travel were built, colonies were established on distant planets, and alliances were forged with civilizations eager to break free from the Galactic Council's control. But the fight wasn't over. The Council still held power, though its influence had weakened significantly. Some alien species remained loyal to the Council, while others sought to reclaim their dominance by targeting humanity. Skirmishes broke out on the edges of human territory, testing Earth's newfound strength. Each time, the humans prevailed, their advanced weapons and shields proving unbeatable. Ryan took charge of Earth's defense forces, ensuring that every ship and soldier was prepared for whatever challenges lay ahead. He knew the Council wouldn't give up easily. They were too proud, too used to ruling without question. But Ryan also knew something else. Humanity had allies now. Freed civilizations joined forces with Earth, creating a coalition dedicated to peace and equality. Together, they pushed back against the Council's tyranny, liberating worlds one by one. Laura focused on diplomacy, traveling across the galaxy to meet with leaders of other species. She spoke passionately about unity, urging them to work together instead of letting fear divide them. Her efforts paid off. More and more civilizations pledged their support to humanity, seeing Earth not as a threat, but as a symbol of hope. Slowly but surely, the Council's grip on the galaxy began to crumble. Despite their success, Ryan and Laura never forgot where they had started or how far they had come. They often returned to the Odyssey *, now retired and turned into a museum, to remind themselves of the journey that had changed everything. Standing on its bridge, Laura would sometimes smile and say, "They laughed at us once. Do you think they'd dare do it again?" Ryan would chuckle, shaking his head, "Not if they know what's good for them." Years passed, and humanity continued to grow. New generations of explorers ventured into space, carrying the lessons of the past with them. Earth became known not just for its strength, but for its compassion and determination to make the galaxy a better place. The Galactic Council, once feared and untouchable, faded into obscurity, replaced by a new order, one built on cooperation rather than control. Somewhere deep in space, Solus watched silently, its glowing form flickering faintly. It had fulfilled its purpose, ensuring that the Valen's legacy lived on through worthy stewards. Humanity had risen from humble beginnings to become a beacon of hope, proving that even the smallest spark could ignite a fire bright enough to light the entire galaxy. And so, humanity stepped boldly into the future, a future defined not by fear or ridicule, but by courage, resilience, and the unshakable belief that anything was possible.